I've been a vegan for a little over 2 years, I guess. Let's see, fully vegan, I guess, kind of. Ended up testing some stuffs with pasted with butter, but that's as far as non-vegan I went. Hi everyone, this is MKmUSicIAN. I'm a singer, songwriter, music producer, film producer from Nashville, Tennessee.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
A lot of people think that vegan basically means you can eat animal milk like cow milk or eggs. It's all plant-based protein, plant-based food. It also doesn't mean that I only eat salads, or anyone who's vegan that we just eat salads and no protein. A lot of people who are vegan, they're getting enough protein and all the necessary vitamins and supplements organically, and maybe in some cases eating some called OTC, or over-the-counter supplements. I don't like taking supplements. I do take protein powder, but that's only a scoop, which is only about 20 grams. And I usually try to take 70 to 80 grams of protein, if possible, somewhere between 60 to 80 grams of protein. So majority of the protein don't come from protein shakes every day. So that's another myth. If someone believes that, well, the only way you work out and make muscles is by eating protein shakes, that's not necessarily true. My journey with the creative side, so to speak, the artistic side with music, digital arts, and so on, started since I was a child. I still remember I used to write these small poetries and even draw inventions or prototypes that I may someday come up with a way to produce in reality. I remember back in my school days, early school days, I would be working on projects that had to do with multimedia. That would allow everyone to view pictures or even video or play music. This was roughly about 20, somewhere over 20 years, somewhere close to 25 years ago, I guess, in the late 90s. And then all of a sudden, the turn of the millennia, I started getting interested into music, particularly singing. I played a musical instrument since I was a child, called some call it the Oriental drums. It's the South Asian drums called tabla. And from time to time I still play and use in some of my musical compositions or song compositions. My mother, my dad, and my sister, they were all singers. My brother, who passed away now almost 20 years ago, about 18, 19 years ago, about 18 years ago, he was into music. He liked playing the sitar. He liked playing the sitar, which my dad really loved to play. My mother did too. I very seldom used to play, but mostly the tabla, and then picked up the guitar from some of my friends. And then I don't remember if it was as a hobby or as a necessity for having sort of an extracurricular type of class for my high school years, examinations, or graduation requirements back in my native country in Bangladesh. But I started learning how to draw arts in a professional manner, using symmetrical methodologies and so on. But then it stopped. All of a sudden I just stopped taking it too seriously. Since childhood I always was this person who didn't like to be forced into doing something or feeling forced into doing something. And my dad has been supportive, my parents have been supportive as much as they could with allowing us to follow our dreams. My dad used to say this thing that if you follow your heart and your passion and truly focus on it, you don't have to worry about earning an income or the money. Don't follow the money, follow your heart and passion, and the money will follow you. That's kind of what he used to say. And they were always tradition related and other cultural or and so on related aspects that both as a maturing individual in his early young adult and also as someone coming from a very traditional and cultural background, took it upon myself, I guess, not to blame anyone, but it's part of my experience, life experience, and I take it as is. But I started limiting myself and trying to impress others with what I thought was considered to be right as a social cultural acceptable activity or goal or ambition in life. But then over the years things changed. I evolved. Like I said, I started with music. I started singing at the turn of the millennia, after the year 2000 or 2001, somewhere around that time. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, I started producing my own songs, composing my own songs, then got interested in the music videos, or producing music videos, not just my own, but partnering and collaborating with other multilingual, multinational artists and groups or bands. And then got interested into film production over the recent years, and then art, digital art, just all of a sudden happened to have come back to me about 2-3 years ago. Went through some of those, I call them wonderful experiences, like everyone experience in their lives, and it just went from there. Felt like I need to draw, and then one thing led to another, from drawing symmetrical, geometrical shapes, colorful shapes. They started becoming more intricate. And then I started animating them. And through the process, I actually started combining my digital arts, or the passion for them, and the passion for music and film production, and then coming up with my own comedy animation show. That also sort of happened spontaneously. And then got into the world of NFTs, non-fungible token arts, or NFT arts. And I also sometimes, even to this day, get surprised how far I have come, and sort of wonder how far will it go, or where will it take me. Not from shocking negative perspective, but more of a positive, curious perspective as to where else would this life, this wonderful, I call it multiversal life of experiences, will take me. Throughout the process, I started my own entertainment company called RM Infinity. Sometimes call it RM8 because the symbol does encompass something that is the form of an 8, but it's actually an inverted infinity symbol. And RM Infinity means to connect with the infinite mass. Recently, I decided to produce and release my songs, which I have been already doing every now and then for the past few years. I decided to start my own sole proprietor record label. It still is in its very infant stage. I just produced my first ever song through this record label called RM Infinity Records. And then recently I started my own NFT initiative or startup called Vasuvian. Over 100 NFT digital arts still pictures, intricate arts, as well as animated digital arts on the OpenSea.io platform in multiple collections and sub-collections and series of NFTs. And I don't necessarily ever plan, so to speak, about, okay, maybe this would have, if I do it this way, have a high possibility of an income or whatnot. There is this small, of course, connection to an expectance of financial gains, so to speak, to put it lightly, but it's rather more of an experience of, let's just see how far will it go. Not necessarily thinking too much about the end result of the whole process, but actually going through the process of these new avenues and aspects of life. So that's how my journey started with Vasuvian, with Arm Infinity and Arm Infinity Records. I'm a vegan, which doesn't necessarily mean that I don't eat any protein. A lot of people have this misconception about the fact that if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you don't eat any protein, which is not necessarily true. I have a plant-based diet, although in recent times it has become a favorite practice in life. Of being a vegan. It didn't really start as such initially. I've been a vegan for almost 2 years now, and the reason had to do with in continuing illness, so to speak, with my stomach that I've had since my childhood, and with recent years sort of have become an integral part of my life, rather more than I expected. And I have taken it for granted that it's part of me, and I just need to live the life as deemed necessary for me to live happily and healthily. I have a condition where I start having stomach issues if I ever start taking any kind of animal protein or fish protein, or even oily or fried food. So vegetarian food can cause issues as well. So a lot of people might think, vegetarians are the safest. Well, fries, and which are fried potatoes, or any other kind of fried vegetables, can also be unhealthy for someone's diet. Of course, as long as you take something for a limited quantity, the case might vary. But for me, that was not necessarily the case, particularly with animal proteins and fish protein. I not only was having issues with my stomach of digesting such food, but I would, even after doing a prolonged period of exercise, I would seem fit for once, and then all of a sudden my health would not be as fit as expected. I would start becoming obese and unhealthy, with high blood pressure and things someone would not love to have. So let's just say that in their young adult life or even midlife. Over the years, especially since I'm getting close to almost 40 years of age, even doing exercise has become tougher, but I still have to do it. Even though I'm a vegan, I have a plant-based diet. My body metabolism, not just the body metabolism, but just the body itself just slows down, start feeling too lethargic, tired and whatnot, not too much energetic. So even though I sometimes feel I don't want to exercise, I just have to keep on telling my body and communicate with my body that, what, we need to get up and take care of this, take care of ourselves, all aspects of my body. Not just the tummy, my hands, my legs, and that includes my brain and my heart, to be active and doing everything accordingly as much as possible. Age is just a number, as they say, and I'd like to keep it that way as much as possible. I'm sure anyone and everyone would like that to a certain extent. Love that to a certain extent, or maybe to a great extent. So especially in the last couple of years of the worldwide health incident that has been occurring since the 2020s, particularly, or through the 2020s and now 2021 and so on. Hopefully it would not be as shocking per se, or for lack of better words, overwhelming for all of us. but rather something that we can overcome and heal from. Even though, I had a vegan diet, I just couldn't continue exercising. There were health safety reasons, of course. I couldn't go to the gym, but then staying at home, and just transitioning into the work from home culture, though felt initially wonderful, and now it is, of course, because we adjust with life incidents. Initially it didn't feel so I had to get used to it. Also with being at home most of the time, spending time more with kids, and there were some advantages as well, and also some challenges I'm sure a lot of people have been facing from working from home. But we adapt, and we go on. But things happen. No matter how much safety protocols you take, things happen. I got infected with that, or was one of those persons who got affected by that health incident beginning of this year, and also not as great as this year, but also to some extent I felt very ill last year as well, beginning of last year. But then took a few weeks and even a few months to get over it, and then get vaccinated just as a precaution, and so far it's been going well. I started working out again, exercising as much as possible, while trying to have a healthy diet, not just by being vegan, but making sure that I take proper and adequate nutrition, including water. A lot of people don't know this, but we need ample amount of water to keep ourselves safe, to keep our body safe, and to keep everyone around us be safe as well. It started off me having some health-related issues. I had some stomach-related issues since my childhood. It kind of became comedic, and then I figured, a lot of people make a laugh about it. Why I end up in the bathroom sometimes, spending too much time, and then I said, that's life, and might as well make fun of it myself, and get a kick out of it myself, and also help others enjoy. So I started making comedy animations. I started off a cartoon show, a series. I just tested out just for fun. I was making cartoon skits a few years back, and then people started loving it. And last year I said, you know what, let me see how it's gonna be if I actually create a series of some sort. So I released season 1 of my first animated comedy animation on my YouTube channel, and it had its ups and downs. It was a pilot project. At least I don't have any regrets that I didn't try it, and there's some improvements I'm working on. I have this very small team of people who I work with, and I'm currently working with and have worked with, who actually been assisting me to do better in future with this project. We're in the process of launching a movie version of that cartoon animation pretty soon. I've come up with this saying quite some time back, a few years back, and I still believe in it, is that everyone has to start somewhere, and mistakes are part of an everlasting gain of understanding and betterment of those that exist. I still believe it to my heart. We all make mistakes. Actually, for me right now, there's no such things as mistakes. We have experiences in life, and we use those experiences we have and had and will have to have even better experiences or wonderful experiences in life in the future. When I was a little maybe about 3 years or 3-4 years of age. I already, even back then, used to think of something special. I'm sure all kids do, but I still, to this day, have remnants of memories from very young age that even my parents sometimes think, hey, how do you remember that? That's not possible. Like, for example, I remember when I was about that age, about 3-4 years, I had a dream living in an apartment on a second floor. And I asked my mother about that apartment, and we were not even living there at that time, obviously. That did we live in such and such place before? And she said, yeah, but how do you remember it? You're not supposed to remember that. You were very young back then. An infant, I guess. I said, yeah, I mean, I dreamt about something like that. So, and I still remember that dream from 3 or 4 years of age. I remember a dream also. This is very interesting. This is in the early 80s or mid 80s. About mid 80s. Let's say somewhere between mid and late 80s, just to be safe. I had a dream about some kind of powerful bluish glowing sword in my hand with white leather jacket, leather pants, and some of it may have to do with an Indian movie I saw a long time ago of this Indian Bollywood superstar Amitabh Bachchan. He used to, I think, more than one movie. Particularly one movie I think is called Shahenshah. If I'm remembering this right from back then, in one of the scenes in one of the songs, he was wearing a wide jacket. I wasn't sure if it was leather or made of jeans, and white pants. So maybe that's where I got that from, but I'm not sure where that bluish glowing sword came from. And the background was kind of like an holographic room of some sort, when you would kind of like a three-dimensional gridded room of some sort. So it was interesting. And I wasn't even that old, and I'm talking about in the 80s. I don't even remember if I don't recall seeing Star Trek or Star Trek The Next Generation or any of such movies back then. The only close to that one I remember is, I'm sure it's only people who were from the 90s or grew up in the 90s and 80s would remember. It's called Street Hawk. I think there was something called Airwolf. That's about a special helicopter, kind of not necessarily superhero, an action series. It's called Airwolf, a special kind of helicopter. And then Street Hawk was about a motorcycle, a special motorcycle that would go very fast. Not necessarily the speed of light, but it was very fast. And those are kind of the movies we grew up watching. Maybe that's where I got more interested into digital arts and something. It didn't necessarily happen back then. I don't recall having any interest in digital arts or any kind of art back then. Not even music. But I used to have and still have a very keen ear, a very sharp ear. I'm not sure if that's like one of my physical senses that that's more open, I guess. I can hear sometimes ambulances from far away. Not necessarily I'm always hearing things like that, but once I hear it, I tap into it and just focus on those sounds, and I guess that's how I keep on hearing them. But a lot of people, I guess, when we get busy, I'm not saying I have a superpower or something. It's everyone is able to do it, but we get busy with life so much that we forget about what's happening in our surrounding. And so I guess I've been able to focus on some of those things, and once I do, if I like what I'm hearing, I just hold on to that and focus on that sound, and it starts getting more clear. I wish that was the case with my studies, but that wasn't necessarily the case, because I wasn't that great with my studies when I was young, and sometimes I was. I grew up in South Asia at least half of my life, the first half of my life. So far, at least. I'm reaching close to 40, so the first 18 years of my life was spent in South Asia, in my native country in Bangladesh. And then I decided to settle in the United States and continue with my studies, and eventually became an American citizen over roughly about a decade back, or a little over a decade back, about 15 years back, I guess. But I never had any interest when I was young in music or art or any of those things. My mother is still a singer. She doesn't sing as much, especially after my dad had something relevant to his health that was discovered. But thanks to God, he's a lot better now, and we're hoping and praying that it's gonna stay that way. But back to I know I'm going all over the place. It's just that, just like the trees, I'm looking outward on top of a hill right now. All the different colorful leaves. There's so much memories, not just for me, for all of us. Beautiful memories and experiences, not just negative. I try to hold on to those positive experiences, even amidst some of the experiences I had and still continue to have with my health. But those positive factors in my life, I've decided to focus more on them. Just like, the sounds with my ear. The sound of the birds, sometimes the sound of the sirens of the fire department vehicle or an ambulance from far away, or trucks rolling down a bridge about 1.5 miles away. Believe me, it sounds very ridiculous, but where I live, it's not that hard to hear those sounds. Sometimes the surrounding gets so quiet, it becomes more feasible to hear, as long as you're not, tied into other stuffs in life, in our so-called day-to-day busy lives. And no pun intended. And I know everyone has to do what they have to, according to their life needs and necessities. But back to my stomach issues. They started way back when I was young, when I was a kid. Never stopped. Had some instances in school. Some of us had. All of us had some similar or different experiences in life when we were in school, and that's part of growing up. But then with age, I guess I was hoping it was gonna get better, and it did to a certain extent. It not necessarily got better, but I guess I got accustomed to be able to connect more freely with my body and communicate with my body to ease my pain from time to time whenever I have, even to this day. There was funny, a few weeks ago, someone asked at a restaurant a few months ago, I guess, when I asked them about food. Interestingly, this was in a Desi restaurant. Desi means South Asian, from the Indian subcontinent. Someone asked me, your food choice of being vegan, is this like a life choice or is it health related? I said no, it's health related, but in my mind I was saying, why would that even matter? If someone wants to have a certain diet, that's their own belief. That doesn't necessarily mean you should give significance on preparing the food. For someone who might have a health related issue versus someone who decided to make it a life choice. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. I guess once again, everyone has their own choices in life, and every restaurant has their own beliefs and thoughts about life and how everyone leads their lives, and that's fine. But coming back to the point of being positive, that's more important, and I try to be positive. Even until about 2019, even when I was in the process of transitioning into being a vegan. Actually, I didn't even know I was going to be a vegan. I didn't even know I was going to quit eating meat or any kind of animal protein, meat protein, I guess, or fish, which I used to love a lot. I don't know. I sometimes used to have this feeling, not just for health, but also, I don't know, if my parents or someone else is watching this, they might think, okay, that's not a good reason. But yes, I did always have this notion about hurting other animals, but that didn't stop me from eating food. As harsh as it may sound, I believe a lot of people think the same way, that yes, we care about animals and fish, but we have to survive, so we have to eat. And everyone in my family still eat animal protein, whether it's chicken or fish or anything of that nature, and as long as they seem to be healthy according to them, and culturally or even religiously allowable, they eat them. But for me, for the last 2 years, I just decided to stick to it, and it's become, in my opinion, a wonderful practice for me. I still have issues with my health, but it's a lot better than about 2 years back, even when I was vegetarian. still eating cheese and dairy products and creamy cakes and sweet and the protein shakes. I mean, my protein shake doesn't have any sugar in it, at least it's no processed sugar. I have cookies that I take, protein cookies, and they have sugar, but I try to make sure, they're not processed sugar, and they have as less content of even organic sugar as possible. Proper diet is helpful, and it's with any kind of food. Any food, I guess, if we find out is, not healthy for our own particular physical selves, then we need to figure out or try to figure out why, or if there's a way we could still continue eating those foods, and if not, abstain from them. At least that's in my belief. That's what I believe, at least. Abstain from those kinds of food that continue to harm our body, and that's the same thing with me. That's why I decided. One of the main reasons why I decided, I can't do it. I tried to cheat my diet a few months ago, just like having butter. I think went to a confectionery, or in other words a bakery, and they had cakes, and I asked them, do they have eggs or any animal protein? They said no, but they're made of milk or butter, I think. I said, okay, let me give it a try. And I ate, and I actually devoured 5 or 6 of those pieces of cake. Didn't go well for the next few days. Part of it, yes, had to do with devouring 4 or 5 or 6 pieces of cake, but it had to do also with the point that my body wasn't accustomed, or was not communicating well with those kinds of food. Even when I started, I guess, eating or nibbing on, biting on the first piece of cake that I took that day, or first 1 or 2. So we gotta be careful to take care of our body, whether it's eating animal protein or fish protein or any other things, even some vegetarian food. Like my body doesn't go that well with carrot, but I mean, I eat carrot, but there is a level of agreement with those kinds of foods, or anything that has carrot in it, I guess, and so on. Even though I became a vegan about 2 years ago, like I said, I was very sick, and from being very sick, that's when I had to decide, I cannot continue even being a vegetarian. I have to give up on dairy food, and I decided to become vegan. But even when I did, that's when we started learning about, the health-related incident that's been going on for the last 2 years. But I couldn't continue working out. My body, first of all, was very ill. I wasn't like a big guy, but in my own for lack of better terms, all I can say is my body became very rubbery, almost literally. I mean, I started losing bone density. At least that's what it felt like. Not too much protein, started becoming not necessarily skinny but rubbery, and very lethargic. And then of course I got sick related to that health incident that's been going on for the last 2 years all over the world. I did get cured. I got vaccinated finally, though I had some doubts about it, but having been through so much things in life, I figured it might be a good idea to just go ahead and do it and see what happens, and leave it up to the higher up, the Almighty. And I believe it was a good decision. So far, no issues for almost 4 or 5 months. Eventually, a few months back, I started, almost a year and a half later. A few months back, I started working out at home and then working out at the gym, especially after get vaccinated and after getting cured from that health related incident. A lot of people, even my family members who actually told me not to work out, actually told me to work out, saying that I need to take care of my body, even though I'm vegan. Same people actually nowadays say that I am working too much out, spending too much time in the gym, and that's not necessarily true. What I keep on telling people, you'll only know about a person either if you are the Almighty, at least I believe in the Almighty, or that person is in your shoes, leading your life, which is not usually or almost never happening, unless you have an exact replica of our universe or world where you have a duplicate version of you leading an exact life. But it's not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy. You have to put your own effort and have the willpower to do it, and have the desire to do it. Otherwise, sometimes my body gives up, and I said, you know what, I cannot do it. And there are sometimes risks of injuries, and one time I hit the wall after almost pretty badly injuring myself a few weeks back while working out, and my body just went through a shock for a few days. And thank God I actually came back. I did take a few days break, started doing some healing process physically and mentally, and finally I went back. Once I attempted to do the same workout, that fear vanished. It became as feasible as it was before. Things will happen. You just gotta get up and keep going. That's life, You will not necessarily break the wall, but trust me, you might be able to go through the wall. Not physically necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. There will always be these walls in life, and we either go over them or go through them. we won't be breaking them. They're still going to be staying there, but at least you'll say, hey, I just crossed that wall. I went through it, or, I went over it, or even under it. And I'm on the other side of the wall. And there might be another one coming up, and you just keep going. That's life. And I did that. That same positivity, as I was saying, help me with other projects to initiate in life, and don't think about the end result as much as just doing them. Leaving the result to fate, to hope, or if you believe in a higher power like the Almighty God, then live it up to Him. And that's what I've been doing. I never thought I would get into digital arts. Then all of a sudden, 2 years back, it started, and now I didn't even know much about NFT, but then I learned about this wonderful gentleman. I started seeing some of his videos, inspirational videos. Through them, I started learning about NFT. I'm not even sure if you'll notice this video. Wonderful guy. Hopefully he will one day see this video. I know that, hey, one more person inspired by what he's been sharing with the world, just like I try to do my best to inspire others. Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, who's also the founder of this wonderful group called V Friends. And through him, through some of his posts, I learned about this thing called NFT, a non-fungible token, and it's inspired me to go even deeper into my digital arts. And it's a process. I started, it's a process. It's a very interesting process. Sometimes feels tedious, but you, like I said, you keep going. Usually a lot of folks create tens of thousands of these digital arts or NFT arts through computer programming. I'm not a huge or big programmer, although I do something similar from my day job. But I try, I use different softwares to help me create these, at least to me, wonderful pieces of arts and music. And so far, over 100 of them have been uploaded into the OpenSea.io platform under the main banner of my NFT projects called Vasuvian, Vasuvin. That's a plug. My project. It's, you're gonna be seeing this in under the video, or in somewhere in credits, if I do remember to attach it, like all my other links. But Vasuvian was launched on the OpenSea platform a few weeks back, actually, roughly about a month or two back, I think, or 2-3 months back. I can imagine even has been such a long time for me, and still in the process of launching some more projects. I've already launched 3 different collections. They're one of the collections, the biggest one that I've launched is called The Big Reveal, and it's still in process, even though the art collection has been uploaded or is live. I'm still in the process of setting up prices, price points, and making some finishing touches, so to speak. And there are some other new collections coming up in the very near future, including one having to do with my entertainment company called RM8, or RM Infinity. Actually, it means reconnect with the infinite mass. So when you stay positive, you don't think much about the results. You just think about taking the actions. That's what enabled me to start my own independent label called RM Infinity Records, or RM8 Records. I still don't know what to call it, but it looks like an 8. It sounds very crazy, but the symbol looks like an 8, but it's actually both an 8, the number 8, and the infinity symbol. That's why it's called Reconnect with the Infinite Mass. But anyways, it's just for the sake of staying consistent, I'll just say it's my entertainment company is RM Infinity, and my record label is RM Infinity Records, and just launched my first song through my record label recently, and on YouTube. Actually, on a lot of the major social media platforms, and on YouTube I launched an audiovisual version of the song. It's a Bengali song it's a multilingual song because part of it has an English rap on it. It's called Harmony. And I'm hoping to launch more similar or intricate or unique projects in the future. With all your support and love, that's what I do. I love to take these initiatives in life and keep going. And so far, they've been wonderful. Staying positive. Keep on saying that. Staying positive, it's so important in life. You respect your experiences in life. You respect what a lot of people call mistakes or negativities in life, but respect them as just mere experiences. Utilize them to make your life more positive and carry on with your life. That's the important part. That's the significant part. That's the most relevant part. At least that's what I believe. And we go on. Life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on.